Hello guys and welcome to another Tech Fusion episode. Today we are going to be comparing the MSI 4070 Ti with the RTX 3090. Well, this is just the entry level from the 40 series with the 4070 Ti with no bells and whistles, just functionality and performance to it. This, on the other hand, used to be the king of the hill, the one, the chosen, the desirable, all the features, all the bells and whistles attached to it, the 3090. This should make for a very interesting performance comparisons because we have here the budget entry level 4070 Ti compared with the all-out flagship 30 series of the last generation. And since with this new generation actually Nvidia offers a lot more performance than with the previous generation leaps, so I'm actually looking forward to compare the two and see exactly the differences. Let's start it off with this beast of a GPU, this Kraken all-one big boy heavy-duty GPU right here. This is the MSI SupremeX 3090. It is a triple slot, very heavy, huge GPU with a huge heatsink on the front of it that goes all the way across the PCB because the PCB is as long as the GPU itself. It has three huge fans on the front of it. And not only that, but it takes in a lot of power. It's rated at around 400 watts or so TDP with three 8-pin connectors. On the side here, it has a silent OC switch right here for the BIOS switch. Things that are definitely missing with the 4070 all in all. Comes with a very nice thing called metal on the front of the GPU. So there is some aluminum metal right here, which is very nicely polished and it looks absolutely amazing. So yeah, that's kingship right there. This thing continues all the way on the back of the board right here. As you can see, this backplate also is made of aluminum, anodized aluminum, that it is very nicely polished and it looks absolutely amazing. It does support NVMe link. This I think unfortunately is dead with the 40 series, although some traces have been found on some PCBs for some manufacturers. But for the future I think we can for certainly say that Nvidia cut NVMe link from their program. Getting past the last generation's flagship, let's now move on over to the budget entry level 40 series, which is this 4070 Ti right here. First of all, right off the bat, you don't have any sort of metal on the front. It is only plastic all the way across. But moving over to the back of the GPU, you actually do get some anodized aluminum right here. As you can see, this goes all the way across. Even though the PCB kind of stops in halfway there, it does go all the way across and it actually looks really nice and polished. And it does have also a pass-through design with some slots that are being cut in here to allow the air to pass through and basically cool down the GPU faster. But that's about it. That's about what you get with the 4070s. There's no LED support for this GPU. There's no NVMe link support for this GPU. You don't even have a BIOS switch with this GPU. So what you see is what you get basically. The only new thing that you're actually getting with this GPU is, of course, its 12-pin connector. This is the new standard for connectivity with the 40 series moving forward with Nvidia. One extra thing that I have yet to mention, and I will give it credit, is this extra support bracket right here that will keep this GPU from sagging. That's a very nice addition to see with this card, even though in my opinion I don't think it's really necessary because this is just a dual slot design. It is not as big and as heavy as the 3090. But the 3090 didn't get it while this got it, so you definitely won't have any sort of sagging issues with the GPU, especially given that you are actually provided with a mounting solution for your GPU, so you do get this extra support, this extra metal bracket that you can install in your PC case, so definitely sagging is not an option with this GPU. One other very small thing that I like to point out is that you are going to get in your bundle this splitter right here. This is a two 8-pin connector in with an output of the 12-pin connector required for this GPU. And as I've mentioned in my previous video where I did a review about the 4070s, link right here, you should not fret about this connector whatsoever. This is ready to go more than 400 watts and this TDP of this GPU right here is only of 275, so there shouldn't be any sort of problem. If you want to see a more in-depth review about each one of these GPUs, do keep in mind that on my channel you can actually find links for the 3090 right here and both for the 4070 Ti right here. And you'll get to see what comes included in the box with my reviews and benchmarks of each one of these GPUs, so you can better make out for yourself which one might be better for you. I actually have a tremendous amount of hopes and expectations from this 4070 Ti, and that's not only because I've tested it in my previous video, But in comparisons with my day-to-day workhorse, which is this 3090 right here, I can definitely see a performance uplift. I could even dare to say it's actually performing twice as good as this RTX 3090, just because it's running on the 4nm silicon die, while this is running the 8nm. And the difference that I'm talking about, you can see it in performance versus the efficiency of the power draw of the GPU. Roughly, in a nutshell, this GPU delivers the same amount of performance that this one can, but at half the power. And that, for me, it is definitely mind-blowing, and for me, it is definitely an indication that the generation leap, it is actually quite big this time around with the 40 series in comparison to the 30 series before. I can honestly say that this GPU doesn't even feel this Dying Light 2 running, as at 1440p it does a stellar job of running it without a cinch above 80 FPS for some 250 watts of power that is being drawn. And that is all because its efficiency comes from the 4nm chip that it is in there. If you take a look at the GPU clock, it's right now sitting at 2800 megahertz, which is absolutely amazing considering that the 3090 can only go, I think, as much as to 1800 or 1900 megahertz. So this definitely puts it in an advantage over the 30 series because it can definitely do more with less, and that comes, well, stands from that GPU, which is in the new silicon version of the 4nm.
Right, so here we have Dying Light 2 running 4K. DLSS is set on quality with everything set on high, and I am really stoked about the performance of this GPU. As you can see, we're sitting, well, in FPS terms, anywhere in between high 50s to low 60s, which makes it absolutely incredible for the resolution given. And it is using just about 250 to 260 watts of power, which is absolutely a behemoth of a GPU performing the way it does for the amount of power that it draws. This in comparison with the 3090s that you will get to see in just a little bit. The RAM consume, well, as you can see there, is just using up about, what, 10.5 gigabytes of video memory. It's absolutely understandable for the fact that we're running 4K with this title, and everything seems to be running buttery smooth, and that makes me a really happy camper. I'm really impressed with the performance of this 4070 Ti, even though it's just the entry level into the 40 series. I can honestly say to you guys that I'm really excited with the way that this works, and I am really happy with its performance. So I could definitely recommend this GPU right here for the amount of performance it delivers, with the efficiency kept in mind, because running this game so smoothly with 250 watts, that's absolutely amazing to me. Right, so running Cyberpunk 2077 1440p, everything is set on high with Psycho here and there wherever the settings could be applied, and the DLSS is set on quality, and as you can see, we're running buttery smooth just above 60 FPS to low 70s. We're still sitting at what? That's reasonable, 200 watts of power being drawn from this GPU for the 2800 megahertz, which is the clocks. That's very nice. And we're just sitting at a very ambient, almost friendly temperature of 60 to 65 degrees for this GPU. Do keep in mind I'm running this GPU in a room which is 25 degrees Celsius, so running just 40 degrees up above that, that's pretty much good for this GPU right here. And it's actually pretty quiet. I can't hear the GPU. It is in well, underneath the desk in the PC case there, which is closed off, and I don't hear any whining coming from it, so that's really nice to see. The memories that's being used from this GPU, as you can see, we're using just above 8 gigabytes of video memory, so that's pretty nice as well. And overall, the experience is buttery smooth, and as you can see, everything seems to be looking quite dazzling over here. So overall, I'm really impressed with the performance of this GPU, even with titles that can make or break a GPU like Cyberpunk. But what about 4K, you're wondering, right? Well, 4K, Cyberpunk, same settings. We have dropped down to about, what, low 40s in FPS in a crowded environment like the city center over here. And we're just using now shy of 270 watts of power on this GPU. It is rated for a TDP of 275 watts, so definitely it's quite about to hit the mark there. But everything seems to be in check. The temperature seems to be quite nice. It just went up to about, what, 70 degrees Celsius probably. If I keep on playing for about 5-10 minutes more, it will probably reach 75 to maximum 80, I would expect. but definitely you're getting above 30 FPS in 4K. It doesn't feel as smooth as 1440p, I can tell you that, but it's definitely playable and it definitely feels okay to play even at this resolution, so you won't be having any sort of issues. It is giving it its best, and as you can see, it's still pegged at 2800 megahertz there for the GPU bandwidth, but it is actually doing a very good job. And as you can see, the memory has been increased to almost 10 gigabytes of video memory that's being used to render this title. Overall impressions for the 4070 Ti definitely is a good go in my books. I mean, it's definitely performing very well, especially considering that this is the entry level into the 40 series from NVIDIA. And I would say that right about now is the time to actually throw in the 3090 and see exactly how it compares with this GPU, given that it is the actual king of the hill of the last generation. Alright, so straight off the bat, here is Dying Light 2 running 1440p, all maxed out, same as before, but running now the 3090. And as you can see, we're not clocking this GPU as high as, well, the 4070 Ti. We are just running at around 1980 megahertz over there. And it is doing okay. It is doing just about the same, as you can see. Maybe a little bit better, but not that much. So, as you can see right now, we're just at around 90 FPS. Just jumping all around. Of course, the experience is very smooth. But for that 85 to 90 FPS or 95 FPS at times, as you can see, if you're paying attention there, we are running just hot enough at 400 watts or just above 400 watts, which is absolutely insane for me. So the performance on the 4070 Ti compared to the 3090 is definitely a leap forward. And yeah, it's pointing us in a direction of very good efficiency, or I should say twice the efficiency of this 3090. At least running at 1440p. So let's just hop over and change the settings to something like 4K and see exactly what performance we can get out of 4K and at what cost. Right, now 4K Dying Light 2 with the 3090. We're still running, well, just as before, over 400 watts, so peaking at 420 watts there. This is a little bit over the rated TDP of this card. We are running at stock configuration, I should note, and yeah, the performance definitely comparable to the 4070 Ti. Everything's running smooth, don't get me wrong, everything is fine. Everything was fine with the 4070 Ti as well, but yeah, considering that we're running this card at twice the voltage there, yeah, I can definitely see a leap forward in the new generation compared to this, well, king of the hill old generation 3090. So it doesn't really matter if you're running the 4070 Ti, which is the entry level in the 40 series, but compared to the 3090, which was well, just before the Ti was released, was the king of the hill of the 30 series. Yeah, definitely I can see twice the performance increase with the new GPU. But of course this comes down, I guess, to the 4nm node that's running on there compared to this 8nm that's running on the 3090. So yeah, definitely the results are more or less comparable with one another, but running at twice twice the voltage. So this is the overall experience that I'm having with the 3090 comparing with the 4070 Ti. So here we are having the 3090 run Cyberpunk 1440p all out, just as before with the 4070 Ti. And unexpectedly we're doing well, 70 FPS for that 400 watts upper mentioned before with the Dying Light 2. Everything is running smooth. It's not one of my favorite titles, Cyberpunk, because it can be so buggy. Like this car just came out of nowhere and smacked me down. What? There isn't any car here. Oh my god. Okay, whatever. Yeah, anyway, the gaming experience is smooth. It's fine. But definitely for the amount of watts that we are running this card at, 70 FPS, 70, well, low 70s, high 90s, low 70s. This is what you get, 1440p running Cyberpunk 2077. So this being said, as you can see, lots of nice reflections here. But anyway, this being said, let's hop on over to 4K and see exactly what performance we can get out of the 3090. And just like that, running 4K now with Cyberpunk. It feels just a little bit sluggish. That is to be expected. We have pumped up the resolution, right? So anyway, we dropped down to what, low 50s, high 40s or mid 40s. for the same amount of watts, so peaking at 420 and sitting just around 400 watts for this performance. So this is definitely something comparable to the 4070 Ti. So anyway, for my own experience, what I can definitely say is, oh my god, this guy just spawned out of nowhere. Wow, very nice Cyberpunk 2077 stuff. Anyway, for my own experience, as I was saying, I could definitely compare the 3090 to the 4070 Ti, and definitely there is no comparison between the 40 series and the 30 series. That's for sure. I mean, if I can see double the performance, or I should say, yeah, well, I could definitely say double the performance for the entry-level 4070 Ti. In terms of efficiency, then that definitely means that NVIDIA did something right with the 40 series, and that the leap forward in the generations is definitely a big leap forward this time around compared to the leap that was between the 20 and the 30 series. So this was the overall review of the 3090 compared to the 4070 Ti. I hope that you can get something useful out of this review. And don't forget, you can leave your comments and thoughts down in the box below. I always go through them and always answer to you guys. Thank you very much.
Guys, thank you very much for being so awesome today and choosing to watch this tech review with me. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. It helps the channel a tremendous lot. And thank you guys once again, and see you in the next one.